Welcome to the Ability360 Caregiver Conference, sponsored by Arizona Complete Health. We are so thrilled to have you here today. And for those of you in person, welcome. And for those of you who are going to be watching us online, welcome. Thank you for being with us. My name is April Reed, and I'm the Vice President of Advocacies. And I'm going to be your MC for today. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Welcome. We're going to have a good day. And we're so excited to do this with you. To start off, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce the President and CEO of Ability360, Christopher Rodriguez, and he's here to welcome you and share a few thoughts. Can we say hi to Chris?
And hello, good morning everybody. My name is Chris Rodriguez. I have the great privilege of being the President and CEO of Ability360, and I'm so happy that we get to kick off these conferences today, and I'm so happy that we're able to do it. We were very lucky to have such a great relationship with AZ Complete Health. We came to them, we said, we want to do the best we can to provide as many supports to our caregivers because of how important you all are to helping the independence of so many people with disabilities. In fact, you guys did over 1 million hours of supports last year, is that right? I believe so, over 1 million hours, which is absolutely incredible. We want to make sure that we're taking care of you all, and we do appreciate how difficult this job is. And AZ Complete Health completely understood what we were talking about and provided us with the funds to be able to do this. So a big shout out, a big appreciation to AZ Complete Health for that. One of the ideas behind this is really helping us understand how to best communicate with you all and how to support you. I grew up in a household with an older brother. His name is TJ, who has pretty significant intellectual and developmental disabilities. And as a result of the financial implications that oftentimes come along with that, both of my parents worked, and it was just my brother and I. So I took a caregiving role at a very young age for him, and just as a family member have a heightened appreciation for the work that you all do. We're now in a situation, my brother still lives in Texas, actually, where I'm from, with my folks. And my father actually acts as his caregiver, along with my mom, who's had some medical issues as well. So it's given me a very unique perspective and a very strong understanding of how difficult it can be and how challenging it can be to be a caregiver. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much. Ability360 could not achieve its mission in the way that we do without you all. So you really are the backbone of helping people here in Arizona remain in their homes, exercise their independence. We are an organization that's built on the idea and the philosophy that people with disabilities should be provided supports in the community and should be able to thrive alongside their typically abled peers. And they should be able to do that for as long as they'd like. We try and get away from the model in which people with disabilities live in the shadows of congregate type settings, areas that we know oftentimes, unfortunately, are plagued with abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So keeping folks in the community, obviously, is in everybody's well-being, and you all are the ones that allow folks with disabilities to be able to exercise that type of independence. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. We're hopeful that this is the beginning of an annual process, and we're going to grow and grow and grow. We're excited to be able to provide you with some skills and with some tools that we think are going to be helpful for you all to thrive in your professions, whether you're a generalist or whether you're a family member, whether you're providing supports and services to an individual with developmental disabilities, or perhaps a senior with physical disabilities. We want to make sure that you're all taken care of. I'm excited about the program that we've built. Thank you everybody on staff for helping bring this together. I'm even more excited about kind of our Q&A. Again, it's difficult in the sense that we know that you all don't come to the office, so unfortunately we don't have as much communication, or I don't have as much communication with you all as I would like. So that's what makes this gathering that much more important, to be able to understand what your needs are and to be able to understand how we can better support you. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great day. With that, again, thank you so much for being here, and I will hand it back over to April.
Thank you, Chris. Well, we're going to start off today with a little bit of a learning session. So we've got a 1-hour presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about self-care and burnout, and what are some of the tools and the ideas that can help us take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. I always think of that, that analogy about how if you're in the plane, you got to put your own oxygen on before you can put someone else's on. And so as we developed all the fun things we're going to do with you today, we really thought about wanting you to leave feeling like, I've had a chance to think about what takes care of me, right? We don't get to do that very often, and think about what helps me, what supports me. So we're going to start off with a little bit of that this morning. It's my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Lupita Soto. Lupita is very generously stepping in at the last minute. Our original presenter has been sick this week, and so she's very graciously come today, and she's going to be presenting. So Lupita, come on up, and I'll do a little short introduction so you all can know a little bit about Lupita. Lupita has been with Ability360 since 2016. She's been a caregiver, a supervisor, a trainer, and now is one of our branch managers. So you have somebody with a lot of different types of experiences in the caregiving field, but also someone who personally understands what it's like to be a caregiver day in and day out. So I know you're going to enjoy hearing from her this morning. Can we welcome Lupita?
Good morning, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm so glad all of you can make it out here. There is a lot you can take from this, but it's really, really important that you guys are open to it and really welcome what we're trying to present to you. Thank you to Arizona Complete Health for also making this possible for us. We're talking about caregiver burnout and taking action for self-care today. So with the introduction, what is burnout? It's easy to identify, but sometimes we ignore those signals in ourselves. Because why? Our focus is on the person we care for. We put their needs first, and sometimes we forget that we are just as important as they are. So we look at the statistics. Right now, currently in the US, 1 in 6 people are caregivers for their family. On average, most of those individuals like what they do, 90%, say they enjoy it. They care for their family. They wouldn't have it any other way. However, 85% of those individuals don't receive any respite care. They don't get a break. This is in addition to already working a 40-hour plus job a week. So about 20% of those people report that they are depressed. They work a full schedule and on average come home and provide about 20.4 hours for the family member. That's a lot. So what is burnout? Burnout is an overwhelming emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, feeling of professional insufficiency. We feel like we just can't do enough. That added pressure creates more burnout. Some of those symptoms, you'll see hopelessness, emotional drainage, inability to do what needs to be done, bitterness, just disconnection, pessimism about situations, decreased sense of being able to make a difference, isolation. We disengage ourselves, and it doesn't end. You're in a negative cycle. How do you break that? How do you start to make a negative into a positive? So we're going to see this short TED Talk video by David Asay. He explains his situation and the difficulties he goes through as a family caregiver.
Almost everybody out there who can hear my voice is eventually going to care for a parent, a grandparent, or a loved one. Or Maybe you're that one that's going to eventually need care. The National Association of Family Caregivers says that 1/3 of the population of the U.S. are already caregivers. Wow. Of those, roughly half of them are feeling down, depressed, and hopeless on a regular basis. That's according to AARP. Many of them will become sicker than the ones they care for, eventually needing a caregiver of their own. Now, the worst part is 30% of these caregivers will actually die before their loved ones do. So says agingcare.com. If you're not a caregiver, just wait. You'll either become one or you'll need one. That's why now is the time to prepare and learn how to become a caregiver, not after tragedy strikes. You see, caregivers need to learn how to become selfish if they want to survive. I know this firsthand. Let me tell you why. My wife Charlene and I had a fairy tale, storybook, romance, courtship, and marriage for the first 21 years of our lives together. We were in love with each other so much, I just knew I had to marry this girl before she got away. We raised our 3 daughters. We got them all out of the house. We even got them married off. All 3 of them twice. I think you're only supposed to pay for the first marriage. We now have 7 grandchildren. And right about the time that my wife and I were supposed to be entering into the empty nest phase of life, where we go wherever we want, whenever we want, don't have to worry about leaving the kids in the house to wreck the place, and we have the freedom and the independence and the finances. One day, my wife complains to me about this bad headache that she had for 3 days. She called it the headache of her life that just wouldn't go away. One day, I realized that actually it was the 4th day. On that 4th day, that headache ceased being only a headache. By the time the ambulance arrived, my wife had suffered a massive stroke, and it left her severely speech impaired and paralyzed on the right side. And in that moment, I was no longer just her husband. I was now her husband and her caregiver. The next 2 years was like a living hell for both of us. I had no idea what I was doing. I made every mistake in the book. Every mistake a caregiver could possibly make. It wasn't on my resume. I didn't even know what a caregiver was. However, I quickly learned that if I didn't become selfish, there was no way I was going to make this thing. I could have ruined my health. I might have even died before my wife would have. I quickly started realizing that I was experiencing the same problems that other caregivers experience. The first one is the guilt. I started feeling guilty all the time, but I quickly realized just because I was feeling guilt didn't mean that I necessarily deserved it. The next big problem that was plaguing me was this feeling that I was always never getting any help. But worse than that, it was because I couldn't even ask for help. I just had it in my mind. If I couldn't do this all by myself, I was a failure as a caregiver. That doesn't look good on a resume. It wasn't long before I started feeling these isolation feelings, like I was all alone in the world. My friends stopped calling, stopped coming by. I don't blame them because I was always negative and complaining when they did. Who wants to be around that? It wasn't long before I just started feeling hopeless and helpless. I remember screaming out, I don't even know who heard me, "I can't take this anymore." I guess I was talking to God. I just went on in my pain because I didn't know what to do. But thank God that somebody invited me to a caregiver support group. I didn't know what that was, but I was desperate, so I went. And everything changed for me. I found people who were just like me, burned out caregivers. I found hope again. I remembered that the airlines tell us in the event of an emergency, put your mask on first before you help your loved one. What an amazing metaphor for all of life. I had to learn that if I didn't become selfish, there was no way I was going to survive this. And if I didn't survive, who was going to take care of Charlene? Let me talk about depression. With all the recent suicides in the news lately, we have to ask this question. If there is depression, is suicide far behind? Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade, Robin Williams. These celebrities are no longer with us because they succumbed to that suicidal depression that affects caregivers as well. Yet we don't hear about how many caregivers died in the news, just the celebrities. Another important reminder why caregivers need to learn to become selfish in order to survive this thing, so that their loved ones can continue to receive their care. Everybody asks me, "So how's your wife doing?" And I proudly say, well, because I've learned how to become selfish and put my needs first, she's doing great. She's advanced through the grief process, and she has embraced the new normal and reinvented herself and figured out that if she's still alive, God must still have a purpose for her here on this earth. Now, she still can't talk, but she can communicate non-verbally through Pictionary, charades, two games I hate, by the way, but I'm learning to love. She still can't walk, but we bought her a power chair, and she loves it. She gets to go wherever she wants now. That chair has been all over the world with me, and I have trouble keeping up with it. And anyone who meets her for the first time is thoroughly amazed at how she has a smile on her face all the time and joy in her heart. She's my hero. I am so proud of her. She's like a one-armed wallpaper hanger. And I just don't know how she does it. But because of Charlene, I can now help other caregivers stay alive and stay healthy. I want you to imagine for a moment what the world could look like if every new caregiver was already capable, ready, and healthy, and was easily able to maintain those qualities for as long as they cared for their loved one. If every caregiver can learn to become selfish in order to survive, and if they can really do that, they will become stronger, healthier, and happier, not only in their caregiving responsibilities, but in everything that they strive for in life. I'm living proof. Accent on the living part. Honestly, I promise you, you will not only survive this thing called caregiving, you will thrive, you will be joyful, and you will be the best giver of care to your loved one. I guarantee it. Just remember whose mask goes on first. Thank you very much.
So what causes burnout? Having Little or no control over your responsibilities, lack of recognition, overly demanding expectations, repetitive routine, chaotic, high-pressure environment, working too much without socializing or relaxing, lack of close, supportive relationships, having too many responsibilities without enough help, and not getting enough sleep. These are just some of the reasons we get burnt out. You know, sometimes from personal experience, I can tell you, you may have a big family, but you are the point. You're the one that makes all the decisions. You're the one that everybody looks to. And the person you care for may solely rely on you. Not because nobody else offers, but they may say, I just want you. And that's okay. But you also need to take care of you. So some warning signs to look out for here. Unhealthy eating patterns. It's so easy to fall into the routine of, I'm too busy, I don't have enough time, let me just pick up some fast food, let me just get a packaged frozen meal. And there's nothing wrong with that once in a while, but you still need to watch what you eat. Unusual weight change. You're gaining weight, losing weight. Poor sleep quality. Sometimes we don't pay attention to how many times a night we wake up. That's interrupted sleep. It affects you in the long term. Feeling tired all the time. Yeah, sometimes it becomes so normal to us to feel tired every day. It's not normal. It's not. When you are overworked, you don't think about it. You think, oh, I'm just so tired. But that is not normal. That should be a sign that you look out for most. Feeling down and unhappy. You start to realize more and more of your comments become negative. And like David said, who wants to be around that? Negativity just creates more negativity. So that's where you have to choose to be positive. And if you choose to be positive enough, you will change your way of thinking. Feeling stressed and easy irritated, those go hand in hand. If I'm stressed out, the smallest thing is going to trigger me. And that's not fair. That's not fair to the people in our lives, to ourselves. Failure to maintain social commitments and relationships outside of work. You're always having to reschedule. You want to make time. You matter too. Your friends matter. Your relationships matter. Whether it's a friend, family, those connections, you have to keep, it's work. You have to work towards keeping that connection. And loss of interest in non-work related activities. You don't want to do anything. You become so tired. Do I really want to go out? No, I'll just stay home. But you isolate yourself, and that's not healthy either. And neglecting physical symptoms. You ignore them. My head hurts. It's okay. I'll just take an aspirin. I'll be fine. My body hurts. It's okay. It's just cold. We make excuses. We're not paying attention to what our body is screaming at us. And we have to. So the consequences of burnout, when you ignore these signs, they go unaddressed, it can have significant consequences for you. Excessive stress, fatigue, insomnia, sadness, anger, irritability. Could lead to alcohol or substance abuse. Heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, or you just become vulnerable to illnesses. Your immune system plummets. You know, they say stress is a silent killer. I can tell you that there's a lot of people in this room that are probably really good at hiding their stress. You become good at it over time. You ignore it. And that's not okay. You want to treat yourself, take care of yourself. You know, David said, be selfish. I kind of think about it as a foundation, a pillar. If you're the pillar for your family, for the person you care for, what starts to happen over time if you don't take care of yourself? You crack. So how stable is a pillar that has a crack in it? Anything can come down and knock it down. And what's going to happen to the person you care for when you're not available? And for a lot of people, there are others that can step in, yes. But not everybody has that luxury. Some people are the sole individual that provides services and is there. So especially in those situations, you want to make sure you're in tip-top shape. You want to make sure you're strong. That's why you need to take care of yourself. Now here is some good statements to kind of think about where you might start to recognize, because what happens is we get repetitive with our speech. We say certain things multiple times during the day. These could be positive things or negative things. But learn to identify when it's being a little more on the negative side. So the green, that's good, right? We can be calm and steady with minor mood fluctuations. No day is perfect, right? Things will happen, life happens, and that's okay. You want to be able to take feedback and adjust to changes of plans. It's okay. Changes will happen. Your consumers, the person you provide care for, will have a good day and a bad day. Now, when you're in survival mode, right there, you should know something's already not looking okay. You have an inconsistent performance. You have trouble sleeping or eating. Everybody's different. Stress affects us differently. Some people won't be hungry at all. Some people will spend all their time eating. So you have to know in yourself what's going on. Now, once you start struggling, you're in a persistent state of fear, panic, anxiety, anger, sadness, hopelessness. That's always the feeling you revert back to. Your performance starts to suffer. You start to make, decisions that aren't the best, or you just struggle to make decisions in general. You're so uncertain. These are things you want to pay attention to. Now, in the red, at this point, you're in crisis mode. If you hit any of the marks in red, you should be seeking help. Here's that 1-800 number to help you. There's people that you can talk to. You start to have here in crisis intrusive thoughts, maybe thoughts about self-harm or make careless mistakes, and you can't focus. You have to know, you have to be honest with yourself. Nobody can tell you, because this is your self-care. You can tell everybody else that you're fine, but you are the only one who really knows what your thoughts are saying. And you need to know when to ask for help. It takes a very strong person to be able to say, I need help, in my experience. That is the first step. But you have to admit it to yourself, and it's okay. Because a lot of people think, no, if I ask for help, it signifies weakness. It doesn't. You're human. You're not a superhero. We're not gods. We're human. So it's okay that sometimes we need to reach out for that support. And nobody is going to think of you in any shape or form other than you need help because you care for somebody. So what is self-care? Self-care is the ability to care for oneself through awareness, self-control, self-reliance in order to achieve, maintain, or promote optimal health and well-being. So there's really 7 pillars in self-help. We start with number 1, knowledge and health literacy. What does that mean? Knowledge about your health, where to get treated, what are your symptoms. Get that information, what can I do? Pillar number 2 is mental well-being, mental health. Now, we have made a lot of strides in mental health in the past years. Before, people didn't take it seriously. But now, what happens when you go with your primary care doctor? One of the key points they hit is mental health, because it matters. Your mental health affects how you view yourself. Number 3, physical activity. It doesn't have to be anything extreme, 30-minute walk, but you realize having a physical activity, cycling, swimming, it will bring some peace of mind to you. It'll give you time to think. It's hard at first to establish a routine, yes, but you can do it. Healthy eating. This one's a given. You are what you eat, as they say sometimes. So when you eat a little less healthy, you will notice a change in your body. You have an extra heavy meal. Oh, I'm so tired, I need to go to sleep. If you do that on a daily basis, that's it. We become couch potatoes. But you want to try. It's a choice. Every day, every time, it's a choice. Instead of chips, let me have an apple. Let me have a banana. It can be simple. Now, risk avoidance. You want to be careful. There's a lot of things that can take us down a not so great path. So again, it's a choice. It's something you have to ask yourself. Am I going to do this or not? Is this a good idea or not? Good hygiene. Good hygiene goes a long way, and it's not difficult. Washing your hands, bathing, these simple little tasks, we don't often want to think about, what happens in other people's homes, but hygiene is very important, especially when you're caring for somebody, because that tells you, if someone doesn't have good hygiene, do I really want them to be my caregiver? That would be my question. And rational use of products and services. Being informed, knowing what's going to help you, how to use it. If you have questions, ask them. What can I use this? How will it benefit me? To get the proper use out of things. Now, some self-care myths. We're all very familiar with, all of those social media videos of people going to spas and doing a lot and spending a lot of money on the self-care. And that's okay. If you have the money to do it, all power to you. Go ahead and do it. But it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be everything or nothing. So we start with all or nothing. No. It's about appreciating the little things. As a mom of 2 lovely boys, I am grateful when I have 10 minutes to myself. With a full-time job, some days I don't remember what I did all day except for take care of other people's issues or needs. And I have family that also have a lot of heavy care needs. So 5 minutes to myself, in fact, 5 minutes in the bathroom without somebody banging on the door for me is a miracle. But that's life. Now, self-care is a luxury. For some, but it could be as simple as eating a meal or taking a bath. You know what you enjoy. You know what gives you some peace of mind. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. Enjoy a meal on your own. Nobody yelling, nobody asking, Mom, I need this, Mom, I want that. Self-care takes a lot of time. Myth. It doesn't. It can be practiced in a short amount of time throughout the day. Some people need longer periods. That's fine. This is unique to you, what you need in your self-care. Somebody can't tell you, you need an hour a day for yourself. You may not. Some people can accomplish it in 10 minutes. Some people need a couple hours a day, and that's fine. We all have different needs just like the people we care for, right? Their needs are unique. Their strengths are unique. Same thing for our self-care. Self-care is simple, one-size-fits-all checklist. We heard it's not. It's individualized and a holistic process. You know, only you know what works for you. And that's what you need to do. Now, practicing self-care, the me plan. Here's where, again, he likes to say we're selfish. That's okay. It's okay to be selfish. So you want to remember the purpose. You want to remind yourself why you need self-care and believe that you deserve to focus on yourself. Sometimes you're so busy on errands, your job, and on top of that, if I care for my mom, what does mom need? Does she have everything she needs? And it doesn't stop. Our brain doesn't stop. Sometimes even when we sleep, we don't stop. You don't rest. So you need to remember why. Why are you doing this? Why did you start being a caregiver? Why do you care? Now explore. What does self-care look like for you? Explore activities. Sometimes you think, hey, maybe reading 30 minutes a day every day will help me. But then you might say, I can't concentrate on reading. It's just not for me. So let's explore something else, and that's okay. There's a lot of trial, but you're never going to find something that fits you, that helps you, if you don't explore your options. Think about what's important to you. Choose activities that are healthy and enjoyable. Remember, the goal here is for you to enjoy what you're doing. This should help you relax, not add stress of one more thing I have to do in my day, another thing I have to check off the list. And you want to choose activities that you believe you can accomplish and make you happy. It's the little things. Sometimes it's those small accomplishments day to day that help you get through your bigger goals. And sometimes it might not happen. Some days we don't get to it, and that's okay. It's okay not to do it. So some ideas for you guys. Something you guys might enjoy. Listening to a particular song that you really like, motivates you, makes you feel good. It's okay to listen to that song on repeat. I do that every morning. I have a couple songs that prepare me for the day, and it's okay. Talk to a friend or a pet. That helps. A lot of people have a lot of connections with their pets. I used to talk to my dog all the time. He's now passed away, but he was a very good confidant to me whenever I had to say something. And the best thing is that the response is always what you want it to be. Comfort food. We all have those meals that make us feel good or remind us of particular times in our life. Make it or learn how to make it. My grandma makes an amazing sopa de fideo. I cannot tell you what I would do to get one of those. Luckily, she comes and visits, so every time she's here, I'm like, Grandma, I need some of that sopa. Hey, it makes me feel good, nice and warm. That's the goal. Folding laundry or any type of repetition productivity that makes you feel like you're getting stuff done. Maybe you need to start small. That's okay. Writing or drawing. Some people are very artistic. That may help for them. I can definitely write. Don't ever ask me to draw because I can't even draw a stick figure. But some people, that's their outlet. Playing like a kid, silly putty, bubbles, Legos, cartoons, coloring. If these are things that bring peace to you, go for it. Do it. Age is just a number. Make your bed, maybe fresh sheets. I don't know about you guys, there's nothing that equals that feeling when you have clean sheets on your bed and when you go to sleep. It's very comfortable. Drinking hot chocolate or cocoa by the fireplace. Don't forget the marshmallows if you like them. Looking up funny memes. Hey, everybody has a phone now. Everybody usually looks up the funny videos, memes. You can share it with your friends or family. Compliment someone and watch their face light up. Sometimes saying hi. You look nice today. That can make a person's day or even week. Just that small little compliment. Take a shower, better yet, soak in the tub with a magazine. Read a book. Bonus points if it has pictures. Who doesn't like a good picture book? Make something without caring whether it's good. Do it just because you want to do it. A lot of people knit. I could never because I'm just not that artistic or good with my hands. But if you are, do it. Do it for yourself. Have a good cry, but keep it short. Use the expensive tissues. Hey, it helps. Sometimes a good cry, whew, okay, I'm ready to go to bed. If you think about it, it's something that we've done since we came on this earth. What happens? Babies cry, and then go to sleep. Sometimes we do need to do the same. It's okay. But buy yourself a smallish gift just because. Again, think of yourself. What would you want? Sometimes, even just buying myself a little candy. Hey, I'm going to get this chocolate for later. It's going to better my mood. I usually call it my 3 o'clock snack, you know. It's around that time. I need a little extra energy. Forgive yourself for what you couldn't do today and resolve to try again. We are our harshest critics. We are so hard on ourselves, we forget to take a breath and realize people probably don't even think half of the things that we feel about ourselves. You need to give yourself a break. You need to care about yourself. You need to love yourself just like you love the person you care for. Because I guarantee you, you don't think about that person nowhere near as harshly as you think about yourself. And it's okay. So some examples here of self-care, physically or physical. You can go for a walk or a hike. Visit your doctor for checkups. This is very important. At least your annual checkups. Eat food, drink water. Drinking water is very important. People sometimes think, well, I'm drinking a liquid, I'll drink soda, I'll drink juice. We need water to survive. It's important. Getting enough sleep. Mentally, feed your mind, read a book. Enjoy your hobbies, knitting, cooking, painting. Visit a museum. Watch a movie. Maybe a comedy will get you out of a sad mood. You know, maybe you like action films, something that will keep your mind busy and let you relax for that time. Now, emotionally, maybe you want to journal. Maybe you want to meditate or pray. Listen to encouraging words and phrases. They have so many apps right now for meditation that can help you. You want to ask for help before you need it. Again, this is really important to be honest with yourselves here and know I'm reaching my limit. I need to reach out for help. Maybe you don't know who to ask, where to direct yourself. It's important. If you want help, you just need to ask. Socially, call a friend and talk. Have dinner with family or friends. Cuddle a furry friend. Or join an online support group. There are so many support groups out there. I was surprised that they don't get announced or shared as much as they should be. But there's a lot of resources out there. You guys just need to look or ask. Practical self-care, you want to get a haircut, go grocery shopping, declutter your room, make a to-do list. A lot of people need lists. When I feel overwhelmed, that's my go-to. I make a list of what needs to get done immediately, what can wait, and if I have time, whatever's extra. Nowadays, we're all so busy rushing, getting through our days, we forget to think about ourselves. And spiritual, you want to make a gratitude list. Connect with your community, be in nature, or do random acts of kindness. Sometimes, when I'm in the Starbucks line, hey, I'll pay for the person behind me just because. Karma. It'll come back to me in some other form. You guys would know what you would like to achieve, what would help you, what would give you a sense of satisfaction. But you need that. It's those little wins day to day that help us stay focused. And this doesn't mean that we're not taking care of the person receiving services. This doesn't mean that they don't matter. This just means that you're taking care of yourself so you can give them the best possible care. So with step 2, you want to make your goals. How often do you choose to achieve these things? How often do you want to make your goals? Is it a week, a month, an hour, in a day? You guys know your schedules and what fits into it. Don't be afraid to start small. And when you put it on your schedule, be realistic. Sometimes we're overworked with our schedule. Those are facts. But make a plan. How will I schedule in? Maybe it's a simple nail appointment. You know, some people want to go get a manicure or pedicure. Where do I have time to schedule it? How many hours will that be? How many times? Treat it like it's an important appointment. If you make a goal for yourself for your self-care, it's not okay to just say, it's okay, I'll get to it tomorrow. Because what happens? Tomorrow never comes. You want to make sure that you treat it like any other appointment, a doctor's, an appointment for the person that you care for. Just as important. But this appointment is for you and your well-being. So right here we see a self-care checklist or an example of one, what can be done, how you can schedule. It's really important that you are clear with your intentions, with your plan. You want to make sure, let's say, I want to drink more water. That's a general goal, right? My goal is to drink water. But let's be a little bit clearer. Let's set a number. I want to drink 64 ounces of water daily. That means I have a number, a goal I'm working towards. It means I'm more committed to my plan rather than just a general, I just want to drink more water. Maybe read a chapter of my book twice a week. Again, I'm putting set numbers, so I'm more committed to my goal. You can also look at the bottom. You may have daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals. This is for you and what works in your timing on your time. May it be weekly, monthly, daily. It would fit in your schedule. And it's okay, there's deviations here and there, but it's still important that you maintain that goal for your self-care.
All right, so it's my pleasure pleasure to introduce our next presenter. Chef Steve has been here at Ability360 as a staff member for 6 years, and he teaches 2 courses for us, Living Well in the Community, which helps people set goals and come up with a plan for how do they improve their health and wellness as they live with their disability or learn to live with their disability. And then he also teaches 360 in the kitchen. Steve is a professional chef, and he'll tell you a little bit about his story. So you're going to be hearing from a great expert today. So his formal bio. Steve says, after my stroke in 2012, cooking became an important part of my recovery. My love for food propelled me to discover innovative and healthier ways of preparing dishes and meals without compromising great flavors and tastes. So today he's going to be sharing with us a few recipes, and you're going to actually get to taste them in a few minutes. So I hope you enjoy with that. Please welcome Chef Steve Norton.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm finally 21. Thank you, April, for that nice introduction. Well, my name is Steve Norton. I started at Ability360 in 2015 as a consumer. 2014 as a consumer. I started at the gym. Then I became a consumer of the programs here. And then I became a staff member and an employee helping all of you. And I want to thank each and every one of you for what you do, because of you as caregivers, many of my consumers can come to my classes and enjoy what we have to offer here at Ability360 and get out in the community and enjoy their lives. And I'm one of those that's able to work because of my caregiver. So thank all of you for what you do. Give yourself a round of applause. So today I'm going to tell you a story about a gentleman who did not take self-care as an important part of his life, who was only focused on working hard, working all the time, not eating right, not sleeping right, and not taking care of himself. I'm going to tell you the story of what happened to him because of that, and then how I recovered from that and changed his life. And that person is me. I've had a very varied life as far as my career. My very first career, when I got out of high school, I became a hairstylist, and I worked as a hairstylist. But during that 10 years I was a hairstylist, I started realizing I was planning on my clients' events, their daughters' weddings, their kids' graduations, the baby showers, all that stuff. I'm like, this is kind of fun. Is there a career in this? But I've always loved food. I love the connection we have with each other with food. I love sitting down and having a cup of coffee and a snack with somebody and learning about them and their life and what's going on in their life. So food's always been a big part of my life, and cooking. I grew up in a household where my mom and dad loved to cook. My grandparents loved to cook. Our family dinners were huge, So I decided I was going to go to chef school. A friend of mine was going to chef school back in New York City. I'm a California boy, and I thought, living in New York for a while, that'd be kind of fun. So I applied, and I was accepted. I went to the Culinary Institute of America, started my chef training. Loved it, but while I was back there, I realized I didn't want to be the chef. I realized, and I learned about myself, that I'm a people person. I'm someone who wants to be involved with people, in the front of the house, talking to people, seeing what their needs are, taking care of them. I don't want to be back in the back of the house cooking the food. So I came back to California after going through a year of training, and I started an event planning company. And it was my love, my absolute love. And as with any career, when you have your own business, you have that client that takes you to different levels. You get that client takes you to the next level, the client takes you to the next level. Well, I had clients, I was very fortunate, had clients that took me around the world putting on events. Everybody always asks me, what's the biggest event you ever did? Biggest event I ever did, a most challenging one, was 10,000 people in Japan. So 10,000 people in Japan with a language barrier. my client asked me to go. I said, okay, I need an interpreter by my side all the time, and it turned out great. You just divided it up into, smaller events, and it turned out great. And then probably the most prestigious event I've ever done is I did the World Music Awards in Monte Carlo. That was a very fun event because that client said, here's a check, fill it in at the end. There was no budget. So that was kind of nice. And when you do business in France, you have to go over there, and I lived there for 6 weeks just to develop the relationships to do business with these people. You don't do faxes. You sit over a glass of wine and you talk about the event. You get to know them. And I thought, this is so great. It's such a relaxing way to do business. It's not in a hurry. And I loved that. So I came back and I wanted to apply that to my life. Well, then 2008 came. As we all know what happened in 2008. Everything fell apart. And I, unfortunately, had to close my event business. I lost it because all my clients had to cancel all their events, unfortunately. Well, one of my clients gave me the opportunity to come work for them directly and to be their event planner, their estate manager, and their personal chef. Well, I jumped at the chance. I moved from Southern California to Northern California. I was so thankful to have a job that I dove in head first. And I worked 18 hours a day, nonstop. I was the guy that would go home, go through Taco Bell drive-thru, get 3 number 4s, go home, fall asleep with the wrappers on my chest on the couch. Get up the next morning, run over to McDonald's, get 3 Egg McMuffins and eat those. I'm driving in the car and jump out of the car when I get to work. I didn't know this, but I knew it, but I ignored it. I could look in the mirror, my pants are a little tighter. My shirt's not fitting as loose as it used to be. And I already knew that my family had diabetes. My mom and dad, my grandparents both had diabetes and high blood pressure. But those are diseases I didn't feel. Wasn't sick with it, But little did I know that it was all building up in my body. And I did that, and then on November 28th of 2012, it hit me. I had a massive hemorrhagic stroke. I was alone in the house that I managed, the estate here in Arizona, and I was by myself, and I was able to get to a phone when it started happening because my whole left side went numb. And I picked up the cell phone, or the portable phone, came back and sat in the living room and dialed 911, and it felt like eternity. But finally the paramedics showed up. When they got there, I passed out because I think I was staying alert until someone got there. When they got there, I passed out. And then the next thing I remember was like 2 days later, I'm told by my family, I woke up and the lady that I worked for was standing beside me and her daughter was at the end of the bed and I could hear my brothers behind me. They were talking to the doctor. Well, little did I know that they only gave me a 2% chance of survival. Out of all the strokes in the world, only 12% are the type that I had, and out of that 12%, only 2% survive. Apparently my stroke was very, very massive. I'd lost complete use of my left side. But as time went on, I was in the hospital for almost 3.5, 4 months. I'll never forget this, the date of December 15th, my family was told that I wasn't going to make it through the night, that they needed to say their goodbyes. Well, guess what? I woke up December 16th and looked at all of them, and they're like, you're alive. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. And then I realized, it was funny because I didn't lose my speech, which I'm so thankful, or any cognitive, but I realized that they thought I couldn't hear them. So I started joking around with them. Yeah, I heard what you said. I was in that coma. I know what you said, But I realized that day on December 15th that I'd made it, that my recovery is going to start. Then fast forward January 8th, I got the first movement in my left leg. And I thought, okay, I'm progressing, I'm doing good. Then I was in the hospital for 4 months. My doctor came in and sat on my bed on March 14th. I'll never forget this, that night. He looks at me and goes, Steve, you know why you're here? I'm like, yeah, I had a stroke. No, you're the doc. He says, no, you hit the trifecta, not in a good way. He says, your diabetes was out of control, your blood pressure was off the chart, And he says, you're morbidly obese. He says, those 3 issues is what caused your stroke. He says, I'm here to tell you, if you do not change your life, change your lifestyle right now, you'll be back here, either with a stroke on the right side of your body or in the morgue. It's up to you. You've survived a stroke that most people don't survive, and you have the chance to really live now. So it's up to you. So he left, and the next day I was moving to a skilled nursing facility. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm laying in bed, in the hospital bed, counting the dots in the ceiling, those little ceiling tiles. I'm thinking, okay, what can I do? What can Steve do to change his life? I'm having a conversation with myself. And I've got Fulius on my right side. I know food and nutrition from my schooling. I can start eating a plant-based whole foods diet to start losing weight, change the way that my body is processing food, reverse my diabetes, and lower my blood pressure. Because I can't get out and run a marathon. And you've been given this chance, you were given 2% chance of living, and if you survived, they said I'd be living in a home the rest of my life. I'd never drive, I'd never work, I'd never really do anything. Well, I do everything now except run marathons, but I didn't do that before, so I'm okay. So the next day they took me to the skilled nursing facility, and we all know what skilled nursing facilities are. So I went to the director and I said, can I talk to the cook and maybe look at your pantry? I kind of shared my story with her. She said, sure. Well, they go back, she introduced me to the cook, and can I see your pantry? She opens her pantry. It's canned green beans, canned peas, canned corn, hamburger helper, tuna helper, box lasagna. I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna work. So I sat the cook down with me and I engaged her in my journey and what I needed to do to change my life. I said, if you will buy frozen vegetables and whole grains, I will teach you sauces. I'll teach you a great marinara. I'll teach you a great curry. I'll teach you a great stocks to cook the vegetables in. I'll teach you all these wonderful sauces, an arrabbiata sauce that we can eat the vegetables with and the grains. She says, really? She goes, no one's ever done that for me. I'd love that. So I started going to the kitchen every day and I'd tell her what to buy and she'd buy it and then I'd teach her how to make it. Well, a month goes by, I'm losing a little bit of weight. 2 months go by, I've lost more weight. 2.5 months go by, my doctor takes me off insulin. And that woke everybody up in the skilled nursing facility. The nurse like, he took you off insulin. He's never done that, And I thought to myself, well, this is working. This is really working. And I was feeling better. I was feeling stronger. Even though I was paralyzed on my left side, I felt stronger and felt better. And my family is coming to visit me and like, you're losing weight. Yeah, you're losing weight. Yeah. And I'm eating whole grains and fresh fruit and vegetables. That's what my diet was. And I was very determined. I mean, I went cold turkey, so I was very focused and very determined. So then we go 6 months now from my stroke, and I moved to a care home, a private care home. Well, I did the same thing with the owner of the care home. I said, this is my journey. She wasn't as amenable to what I wanted, but she did it, because it did cost a little bit more. And I said, we'll pay a little bit more so I can get this, which was nice of her, and we did it. Well, 11 months to the date almost, I moved out, date of my stroke, I moved out in my own apartment, which was amazing. I had to do a whole plan of how I was going to live alone, how I was going to take care of myself, how I was going to do my shopping, get my food, cook for myself and all that. And of course, Ability360 came into play with caregivers. And my family had never really understood what that was. And I explained to them what it is. I said, there's caregivers that come in and help. I'm able to shower, I'm able to toilet, I'm able to do all my daily activities of self-care, but I needed help with home care services. And my brothers are like, someone come in and help you with home care services? I want that. I said, no. But I said, that's going to allow me to live in the community independently. It's going to allow me the energy that I can go out and help other people, work at Ability360, go to the gym and work out. If I had to clean my house and do my laundry and make my bed and try to change the sheets with one hand, I'd be so exhausted I wouldn't be able to do anything except go sit in my recliner and watch TV all day. So this journey really inspired me because I had lost about 50 pounds from that point. I've lost a total, when I went in the hospital, I weighed 265. I now weigh 181. So, and I've kept it off, and I'm no god, I cheat. You know, my favorite thing is oatmeal raisin cookies. Love those. But now if I cheat and I eat something that I don't normally eat, my body doesn't like it. My body lets me know it. But I feel so much stronger and so healthy. And I feel just like all this energy. So I got involved with Ability360 and came here, and I started meeting other people with disabilities, surrounded by wonderful people living life with disabilities. I'd say, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee. Let's go have lunch. I'm like, no. I'm like, why not? Well, people will stare at me. People will look at me. And I say, what do you eat? You know, I know you talk about your pressure sores, you talk about your UTIs, you talk about all these secondary conditions. Oh, I went to McDonald's last night for dinner. I had Taco Bell this week. Oh, frozen food, because of expenses, I understand that. You know, and it's cheaper, I can do that. I can go get a number 4 at Taco Bell or Del Taco or Pizza Hut. I said, yeah, but if you think about it, look what you're putting in your body, and you're wondering why you have UTIs, why you have bowel issues, and why you have pressure sores. Look what you're putting in your body. So I had the opportunity to realize that a lot of people with disabilities weren't eating healthy. And so I wanted to start a program here at Ability360 that would change their outlook towards food, change their outlook that food is medicine, and that we can get together and be together. And there was, about 3 years ago, just before COVID, Ability360, a donor, sent me to a conference called Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives. The most amazing conference I've ever been to. It's a movement across the United States with physicians, dietitians, and doctors, and nutritionists, all together, coming together to prevent the disease versus just treat it. About eating healthy and changing the habits of people looking at their plate. You've all heard the phrase, eat the rainbow? If you haven't, that means just go down the produce aisle. Buy every color of vegetable you can, fruit and vegetable. And it was really interesting to look at them and the food they prepared. I'm like, there's something here. This is something really exciting. And I said, not everybody's going to become a vegetarian. I know that. So they came up with the concept of plant-forward eating. So I came back and I worked with April and our CEO at the time, Phil, and I developed a program, wrote the curriculum for 360 in the kitchen. And it's based on plant-forward eating. And all that means is you put more fruits and vegetables on your plate. Your plate looks more like a rainbow. Less animal protein and more fruits and vegetables and things. And I started teaching people and working with consumers and see the change in their lives. And it really excited me. And when Livability magazine, everybody remember Livability magazine? I went to the marketing vice president at that time and said, let me put a food article in there each month. So I did that, and that was really fun. Then we started doing videos, cooking videos. If you go on the Ability360 YouTube channel, there's 6 cooking videos that I have that we did of me up there cooking. And it's all about plant-forward eating. Just put Ability360/Chef Steve and the videos will come up. But I realized that my beliefs of food prior to my stroke and the way that I was were affecting my actions, which affected my results, which my story of having a stroke. So by shifting my mindset, changing my beliefs towards food and how I looked at food and how I ate food, created actions that created results, which created me living a full, thriving life. Now, my doctor just last week, and this is no joke, I went and had blood work done, and he said, Steve, your blood work is that of a newborn baby. You cannot get your cholesterol any better. He says, what are you doing? I said, you know my diet? And he goes, yeah, I know, food's medicine. And yes, because of my disability, I have to take other medications for things that food, quote unquote, can't correct, but I know that it's not advancing worse because of the way that I eat. So every day I eat the rainbow, you know, and I try to. I start every morning with a smoothie. I'm not making this smoothie today. Everyone around here jokes with me. It's a green smoothie. It's spinach, kale, broccoli, cucumber, Brussels sprouts, chia seeds, flax seeds, blueberries, strawberries. I start every morning with that. And with all of you, I worked with my caregiver, taught him how to make this smoothie, because it's a lot of work to get all the ingredients together and put it in there. So what we worked at, he puts all the ingredients in, then the next morning I put the water in and blend it up and drink it. So I utilized my caregiver to help me maintain my healthy progress with this. And I've talked to Penny and April, and I felt you all of you are the ones that are cooking and working with your consumers with their food. And I want to make it easy for you to give them healthy food and give them something that's healthy and nutritious to them. They may want a bag of Doritos. You can say, well, why don't you try this? So very exciting. I've created a cookbook for all of you that has very simple, easy recipes for you to do for your consumers. And today I'm going to make 3 snacks that are my go-to snacks. One of them is going to be a blueberry banana smoothie. The next one's going to be a yogurt parfait. And the next one's going to be a sun butter cup. That's probably the easiest. Sun butter is made out of sunflower seeds. It's not made out of peanuts or almonds, but you can use peanut butter or almond butter, but don't use Jif. Use like natural peanut butter or an almond butter. And one thing I want to address too is I do know that sometimes eating healthy can get expensive. I understand that, or cost more. I don't want to say the word expensive. But I look at it, I'm investing in my health. I'm investing, either I invest in the food and eat healthy and feel good, or I'm going to invest the time I'm sitting in the hospital because I'm not doing well. I had to completely change my mindset, the way that I looked at food, the way that I enjoy food. There is nothing more than I enjoy is sitting on a Sunday afternoon, cooking in the kitchen with somebody, and then sitting down and having a meal with somebody. I mean, I'd encourage you to, even with your consumers, help cook with them, or if any of them are interested, my class is on Zoom, coming from my kitchen. It's like a cooking show. If they're interested in food, have them turn on my class and watch it. Get in contact with me, and I guys can send you the link. Because food to me is a way to connect the world. It's a way to connect with each other. I mean, ask anybody who knows me, that's my way to connect with them. Let's get a cup of coffee. Let's go to lunch. Let's have breakfast. Everybody always asks me my favorite meal of the day. My favorite meal of the day is breakfast. I love breakfast. I love going to breakfast. I love making breakfast. I love eating breakfast because it's my day that I get going. I'm going. I enjoy nice dinners as well, but breakfast is really one of my favorite meals of the day. So, there's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm here today 11 years after my stroke. I had my stroke at 49. I'm 61 today. And I wasn't supposed to be here, but I'm here. So I'm going to start today with the blueberry banana smoothie. And my sous chef Polly's going to help me with it because of just the way the mechanism's set up here. And you guys will be able to see up here what I'm doing, okay? Now this can be done in any blender. I use a NutriBullet because it's easy for me with one hand. Part of what I do in my 360 in the kitchen class is I go over adaptive tools, what works for people. One of my favorite things that I use in the kitchen is called Dyson. It's sticky on the back and it sticks to my countertop when I use it to unscrew things and open things. Unfortunately, it doesn't stick to tablecloths, so that won't work. This is a really simple smoothie. All it is just bananas. Maybe that towel. And you can put anything in here too. You can make a smoothie out of anything. Them blueberries, fresh blueberries that are washed. And then I'm using almond milk. So if anybody's allergic to nuts, the smoothies are made with almond milk, so don't drink it. My body doesn't tolerate dairy, so everything I use is a nut milk. And then I'm going to put chia seeds in it. Chia seeds are a great source of protein, omega-3 and omega-6. They also will absorb some of the liquid, so it makes it a little thicker. You can put strawberries in here, you can put raspberries, you can put whatever you want in here. You ready, Polly? Mm-hmm. And then my NutriBullet, I just turn it over. It's plugged in, right, Paula?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Comes a nice kind of purple color there. Cheers. Okay, the next thing I'm going to make is a yogurt parfait, and I do this for breakfast. And I sometimes have it as a snack in the afternoon. One thing I learned in culinary school is presentation is everything. We all eat with our eyes. So I always choose a nice glass that looks good, you know. And I put a few blueberries in the bottom of the glass. Then I put some granola or slivered almonds in the bottom. Then this also is almond milk yogurt. So again, if you're allergic to nuts, pass on it. But the reason I like the nut milks and yogurt is because they have a lot of protein too. And eating mostly plant-based, I need to eat a lot of protein that way. And then I just layer it some more with some raspberries. I like lots of color. Some blueberries. Then some more granola. And more yogurt. And you can put anything. I use strawberries sometimes. I use cantaloupe sometimes. I just make it what I want it to be. It's all really good. Some more raspberries. Some more blueberries. Top it off with granola, because I like the crunch. I use a sugar-free granola too. There's no sweetener, which is really nice. Sometimes I use just slivered almonds. Then I'm going to put a little drizzle of honey, just add a little bit of sweetness to it. And there you go. See how it's layered there? There you go. I'll let everybody get these passed out to you. But food is to be creative. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. And in the cookbook that you guys will get a little bit later, the recipes are very simple. They're easy to make because I know with your jobs, with your consumers, you guys are very busy with other tasks too with them. But you still need to feed them and take care of them, which is important. So I created recipes that are really easy for you to prepare. And one thing I do is Sunday's my day of cooking. I stay home and I cook Sunday and I cook for the week. So I make a big pot, maybe I make a big pot of chili, vegetarian chili. Well, I'll freeze some of it. Then during the week I can pull it out and pop it in let it thaw out and pop it in the oven and I'm ready to eat, you know. I don't have to worry coming home from work going, oh, what am I gonna make for dinner tonight? None of us like that. You can make a big pot of soup, freeze it, and then you can pull it out for your consumer and here, let's have this for lunch, you know, makes it really easy. Okay, so the next one is a snack that I love that's very simple. This is probably one of the easiest ones. Sun butter, like I mentioned, sun butter is made out of sunflower seeds. And the brand is Sun Butter. You can buy it at Safeway, Fry's, any of the stores, Walmart, anywhere you go. I love the taste of it. It's so good. All I do is I put a little sun butter in a bowl like this. I drizzle a little bit of honey, just a little bit, because being diabetic and I can't eat a lot of sugar. Then I take some pretzel sticks. I stick them off to the side. I take some bell peppers, stick them in there. Some carrots, red bell peppers, and some carrots. And this is a very easy snack in the afternoon. You know, if your consumer's sitting there watching TV and they want something to snack on, this makes it very easy. And it's different than like ranch dip. And then you just dip the celery or the carrot stick or the pretzel bite in the sun butter and take a bite of it. The great thing I found too about sun butter, it doesn't stick to the roof of your mouth like peanut butter or almond butter does. I've done this with almond butter. I've done this with cashew butter. There's a lot of new nut butters out there that are really good. Everybody enjoying their snacks? Like April said, you're going to eat your way through your training. So people often ask me what my life is like now, 11 years after my stroke. I have days where I'm tired. I have days where I don't feel like getting out of bed, but I allow myself those days. I allow myself to feel that way. I allow myself I just can't do this today. I need to wait. But I live a full life. I travel. I do a lot of speaking engagements. I teach 2 classes here, as April said. I cook a lot. But it's because of my caregiver that allows me to do that. Because what he does for me, if I had to do it, my energy wouldn't have. When 2020 hit, I talked to him and I said, let's hold off on caregiving. Well, it lasted about a week. I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm going to die of exhaustion, not of COVID. So we came back, we took precautions, we talked about how it's going to work. We worked together to be safe during 2020. And as that happened, I realized how much he was doing for me that helped me so much. My energy level came way back after that. And now we're in such a great routine, he comes over, he knows what to do instantly. If there's little special things I have, he's more than willing to jump in and do it. You guys are absolute angels to all of us. I know so many individuals that I work with, consumers, that they're able to participate in life because of what you guys do. But what's important is all of you need to take care of yourselves. You need to stop and, like we talked about earlier, self-care. I learned self-care big time because of my stroke. And it was all in my mindset. I had to change my mindset, the way I looked at food. I eat basically now plant-based, but I do eat organic chicken and wild-caught fish. I do not eat beef or pork anymore. And I don't miss it, to be honest with you. Once in a while, I'll smell a great steak grilling on the grill, like, oh man, it smells good. But I know what it's going to do to my body personally. We're all different. Every one of us is different. I had an uncle that lived to be in his 90s. He ate steak, drank, and smoked. No diseases, and died 97 years old, lived longer than any of his brothers. But each one of us is different. So I'd encourage you just to, your body, know what feels. Try putting more fruits and vegetables on your plate, A little more vegetables on there versus less protein. there's a video on the YouTube channel called Plant Forward Eating that I did, and it's about a turkey burger that I made with ground turkey, and I've used mushrooms as well in it. And it's really good. Karam will attest. Karam did the filming, and he's looking at me the whole time I'm cooking, and he's looking at me. Then he tasted it afterwards. He liked it, didn't you, Karam? So when you're out there and you're growing, if you go shopping for your consumers, go down that produce aisle and put the rainbow in your cart. And what I always tell people, and you've probably all heard this, shop the perimeter of the store. The only store you cannot shop the perimeter is Sprouts. Because the produce is right in the center of the store. I said, well, that adage isn't going to work at this store. But usually the perimeter is where all the fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, your fresh meats and cheeses are all, and all the processed food is in the center. I can't even remember the last time I had fast food. I don't eat processed food anymore. I don't miss it. I thought I would, but I don't. I cheat once in a while. I love, one of my favorite things to do is guacamole and chips. I love that, tortilla chips and guacamole. Give me a beautiful bowl of guacamole and a bag of tortilla chips, I'm a happy camper. So I cheat a little bit, but I do it in moderation now. I don't eat the whole bag of chips. I eat a quarter of the bag, and I get the unsalted ones. But I know in my mind, okay, you did that today, Steve. You can't have that oatmeal raisin cookie today, So my whole mindset towards food has changed. And that's all it really is your mindset. When I still go out to dinner, I go out to eat, but I look at the menu, I'm like, okay, I don't let it affect my life, but I make smart decisions when I'm ordering. Do you really need the fried steak or the fried chicken, or can you get the grilled, things like that. And it was hard at first, I'll admit it, but now it's a lifestyle. It truly is a lifestyle for me. I don't drink soda, I only drink water, and I drink kombucha. But I dilute the kombucha with water because of the sugar in kombucha. But kombucha is really good for your gut. I'm really big on gut health because all of our immune system's right in our guts. I'm a huge turmeric guy, lots of turmeric and cinnamon. So, with that, any questions today? You won't be recorded with the questions. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, April. That was the best introduction I think I've ever had in my life, so thank you. So we're just going to start by getting in tune with our breath. Our breath carries us all throughout the day, so just get comfortable in an easy pose. This is called an easy pose, crossing our legs, or just having our legs out. You can also have the bottoms of your feet touching as well. So whatever is comfortable to you, like the name, easy pose, so whatever is easy to you. Bringing the hands down to the knees, palms facing up or down, whatever's comfortable. And rolling back the shoulders and just listening to our breath, maybe for the first time today from all the hustle and bustle of the conference. Maybe even shifting our weight on our seat, maybe moving any extra cushion we got going on. And big exhale. And while we exhale, just if you're comfortable with it, slightly closing the eyes, gently closing them down. Big inhales and exhale through your mouth. And just noticing how our breath feels in our body today. Just taking a minute to tune in with how our body feels today. And as we take an inhale through our nose, thinking about how it feels to fill up our lungs, all the way from our throat, all the way down to our lungs, filling up every single corner. And on our exhale, pushing that air out of our lungs, squeezing it out of our lungs, every last drop. Inhale through the nose and exhale. Just finding our natural cadence. Everyone's breathing's a little different. Taking a few moments. Big inhales through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Few more inhales. And exhale through the mouth. Setting our intention for practice today. Maybe our intention is to try something new, or just take a nap, or finding some inner peace. A few more breaths on our own. Big inhale. And exhale through our mouth. And when we're ready, nice and easy, opening our eyes, bringing our palms together to touch to heart. And on our inhale, bringing our hands all the way up above our head, palms to touch, and through the chest. And big inhale, palms to touch. And exhale through heart center. And on our next inhale, bringing our hands all the way up. And we're going to do cactus arms. So nice 90-degree angles with our elbows, pinching our shoulders back, maybe dipping our head back, looking up towards the sky. On our exhale, big inhale, hands all the way back up. And letting our left hand meet our right knee. And then placing our right hand right behind our seat for a nice, easy twist. Inhale and exhale. And on our inhale, bringing our right hand all the way up, crossing our body, having our right hand land on our left knee, and sending our belly button back to the back of the room. Nice big arch. In our back. Awesome. Dropping the chin to chest, rocking it back and forth. And on our next inhale, flipping our hands up, and you can either just keep them just like this, having our arms at a 90-degree angle, or maybe using a wrap. So this is eagle wrap. This is doing the same exact thing. Big inhale, and exhale, bringing our right hand to meet our left knee, and our left hand back to our seat for a little twist. And using our breath that we just got in tune with, bringing our left hand all the way up and catching our elbows again, just like we did. We've been here before, so bringing our arms up into an eagle wrap. And while we're here, putting a little bend in the back, nice, easy back bend. And exhale, rounding the spine, sending the belly button to the back of the room. One more time right there, so bringing the fingertips up to the sky. Nice little arch in the back. And exhale, bringing the elbows down. And in yoga, we try to do one movement to one breath. So bringing our left hand to our right knee, sending our right hand back to our seat. Nice twist on the side. Maybe experimenting with your gaze, maybe sending your gaze down to your right fingertips, or maybe to the back of the room over the shoulder. And inhale our right hand all the way up and around, hooking our elbow into our crease of our other elbow into our eagle wrap. Our last one for the day. So bringing our hands all the way up, nice arch in the back. And exhale, belly bent into the back of the spine. Nice rounding of the back. Right hand down to our left knee. Our left hand comes back to place right by our seat bones and twist. Big inhale. And exhale. On our next one, we're going to bring our hands all the way up, sitting nice and tall. And while we're here, just seeing our posture, right? Maybe moving around a little bit of this, rolling back the shoulders. Big inhale, and then bring the arms around into a T, and we're going to round the back and bring our fingers all the way forward, giving ourselves a hug. This microphone's fine. And inhale, bringing our arms all the way back out to a T, bringing them up. And cactus arms, we've been here before, so dropping our elbows, keeping our arms at a nice 90-degree angle. Now, since we've been here, maybe dropping our head a little bit farther back, finding a bend in the spine. And exhale, hands all the way up. And arms to a T. And bring our fingers all the way forward, rounding our back. Wow. Sorry, guys. And inhale back to a T. Doing the same thing one more time. So bring your hands all the way up, right before they touch. Cactus arms. Dropping our head back. And exhale, bring your hands all the way up. Down to a T, rounding our spine. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. And exhale, bring your hands back to center. And we're going to move to a child's pose. Now, if you're seated, I'll show you that too. But what we're going to do is we're going to pop up to all fours. We want our wrists in line with our elbows. And we're going to have the back of our toes touch. And then we're going to spread our legs out just a little bit wider, maybe to just the edges of your mat, and push our seat back all the way down, dropping our belly down to the mat. Fingers pointing towards the front of our mat, checking in with our fingers today, so putting pressure in our forearms, down to our elbows. Our pinkies should be pointing towards the long sides of our mat, our middle finger towards the front of the mat, and just dropping the chest down in between the legs, nice soft belly, and then dropping the forehead to the mat. If we're seated, we're going to bring our arms all the way forward and find a chest stretch. Yep, all the way forward. Awesome. And we're in child's pose for a few breaths. This is our resting pose. So if there's anything today that we're doing that you are just looking for a pose to rest, this is our child's pose. So you can also, if your forehead is on the mat, you can roll it back and forth, giving yourself a little temple massage. Getting back in tune with our breath if we've lost it. And then we're going to pop up to our fingertips while we're here. So popping up to our fingertips, and we're just going to slowly walk over to the right side of our mat. So fingertips touch the right long side of your mat, finding a nice long side body stretch. Really sending your breath to your left side, to your left lungs. Still thinking about dropping the belly and the chest to the mat. And on your next inhale, bringing our fingers back to center. And while we're still on our fingers, we're going to walk all the way over to the left side. Keeping our right arm straight, and then bend our left arm. Nice side body stretch, sending the breath into the left ribs, the left lungs. And on our next inhale, walking our fingers back to center, and then just like we're moving through honey, coming all the way down to our bellies, nice and slow, bringing our weight forward to our tummies. Awesome. And once we're on our stomachs, we're going to place our hands right underneath our shoulders. And we're just going to do a little cobra. So we're going to push up our chest. You can either have your hands on the mat or your forearms on the mat. Just finding a nice bend in the back. If we're seated, we're going to have our hands, yep, perfect. They know what they're doing. Hands down, perfect. Just keeping that chest all the way up, bringing your gaze either forward or maybe even experimenting to see how it feels, looking up to the ceiling. And exhale, drop the chest all the way down. Maybe your forehead meets the mat. And big inhale, we're going to push back up to cobra or baby upward facing dog on our inhale. And our exhale brings us back down. And our last one, big inhale at the top, maybe even pushing up a little bit farther. And exhaling back down to the chest, all the way to the forehead. And our next inhale, we're going to push up into tabletop or on all fours. So having our wrists in line with our shoulders, wrists in line with shoulders. We want our knees in line with our hips, nice and square, nice and even. And we're gonna drop our belly button down to our mat to create a cow pose, and bringing our gaze either in front of us or maybe even a little bit towards the ceiling. And on our exhale, a nice rounded spine cow. Really thinking about rounding the spine, opening up the shoulder blades, dropping the head, nodding yes and no. And on our inhale, dropping our belly button down to a cow pose. And then rounding the back to our cat. And run through these a few times in your own breath. Everyone's cadence is a little different. So inhale brings us to cow, exhale brings us to cat. And on our next inhale, bringing our spine nice and straight back to neutral. And we're going to take our right hand and place it right under our nose, and we're going to bring our left hand all the way up. We're going to have our fingers facing the ceiling. Our gaze is going to go up to our thumbs. Nice open chest stretch. Maybe rolling out the wrist here. And on our exhale, we're going to bring our hand down. But before we place it on the mat, we're going to take our left hand and we're going to, it's called thread the needle. So we're going to bring our left hand underneath our right side body and let our arm drop, let our chest drop, send the belly button back to your thigh, and bring our chest to the ground. Awesome. Maybe experimenting with how it feels to have your fingers straight out, arms straight on the top of your mat, or maybe bending the arm, seeing how that feels. Our inhale brings in new energy, and our exhale releases it, sinking us deeper into the pose. And on our next inhale, bringing our fingers back towards our nose, pushing, using our arm muscles all the way back up, bringing our fingers to touch to the top of, to pointing towards the ceiling. And exhale, place the left hand to the right. And then we're gonna just switch it out. So left hand to the middle of the mat, right under your nose, right fingers reach all the way up to the sky. Rolling out the wrist here. And on our exhale, nice and slow, like we're moving through honey or water today, bringing our right hand all the way under our body, under our left hand, setting our chest down on the mat, sinking our hips deeper, bringing our navel closer to our thigh, and our left hand straight above our head. Using our exhale to sink deeper and deeper into the pose. And on our inhale, bringing our fingers back under our body, pushing our weight back into our hands. And we're going to pop up on our toes. And we're just going to shift our weight backwards using our fingertips and walking all the way back to a standing pose to the back of our mat to a nice forward fold. So our forward fold, we want a really nice deep bend in our knees. And just we're letting our neck relax. We're carrying our head all day. It's so heavy. Giving yourself a break. Nice generous bend in the knees. Maybe grabbing the opposite elbows, seeing how that feels. Swaying back and forth. And on our inhale, either hands on shins or on the mat, and straightening and bending the knees, seeing how that feels. sinking even more weight into the left, maybe than the right hip. Experimenting, seeing how it feels in our body. We hold all of our tension in our hips, surprisingly, so. This is a great thing to do in the morning after sleeping and being stiff all night. And on our inhale, we're gonna slowly roll up to a standing position, one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow, and bringing our arms all the way up above our head, palms to touch through heart, exhale. Big inhale, palms all the way up, palms to touch at the top, exhale through heart center. Our next one, we're gonna bring our hands all the way up on our inhale, and we're gonna send our left hand back for a little twist. Awesome. And on our inhale, bringing our hands all the way up, and exhale, twisting to the right. And on our next inhale, bringing our hands all the way up, having our palms touch, all the way down on our exhale. And then we're gonna go into mountain pose, and that's our hands facing forward, the same direction as our toes. And this is a really good grounding pose. So playing with our toes, seeing how that feels, maybe picking up our toes, maybe slowly dropping our toes one toe at a time, really feeling your mat underneath your feet, maybe rolling back our shoulders. And on our next inhale, bringing our hands all the way up, palms to meet, and exhale through heart center. Big inhale, palms to touch. And exhale, opening up to the left. And big inhale, bringing our hands up to the top. And exhale, opening up to the right. And bring your hands all the way up. Big inhale, exhale. We've been here before, cactus arms. So maybe dropping our head a little bit farther, squeezing our shoulder blades a little bit more together. And on our exhale, we're gonna bend down into forward fold again. Letting our neck relax, shaking yes or no. Thinking about getting your belly button to your thighs. That's way more important than touching the ground. And on our next inhale, bringing our fingers to our shins and straightening out our back. This is called halfway lift. So we want to keep the crown of our head facing the front of your mat, nice straight back. Big inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. And on our next inhale, we're going to make it back to our stomach. So we're going to either crawl our fingers to the front of the mat, drop to the knees, and then nice and slow lowering down to the chest. On our exhale. Awesome. And then on our inhale, we're going to do cobra. So bringing our chest up, rolling back our shoulders. And exhale, dropping our chest back to the mat. And then pushing back up to tabletop, just to make it to our child's pose. So spreading out our knees a little bit wider than our hips, having our toes touch in the back, and pushing our seat back and dropping our head. We have officially done Sun A. Getting back in touch with our breath here. And on our next inhale, coming back to our tabletop, hands and knees, bringing our knees back in right underneath our hips, spreading our toes. We're going to tuck our toes, and we're just going to do what we did one more time. So we're going to pop up onto our fingers, push on back to a standing position. Nice generous bend, maybe straightening and bending the knees, seeing how that feels. Halfway lift on our inhale, so we're going to place our hands on our shins, nice straight back, crown facing the front of our mat. Inhale and exhale, forward fold. And on our next inhale, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. And then at the top, rolling back our shoulders. Exhale. Big inhale, palms to touch the top. And exhale, opening up to our right side. Inhale, palms all the way up to the sky. And exhale, opening up to the left side. Awesome. Palms all the way up. This time, have the palms touch. Big inhale. And exhale, forward fold. On our inhale, we're going to halfway lift, hands on the shins, straight back. And exhale, crawling our fingers forward or just making it to our tummies. Dropping our knees, lowering down to our stomachs. We're going to push on up to cobra one more time today. This is our last one, so sinking our hips deep into the earth, rolling back our shoulders away from our ears. And exhale, pushing back to child's pose. So toes touch, spread our knees a little bit wider than our tabletop, and pushing back. And on our next inhale, coming back up to tabletop and just coming to a seat. So pushing back, just bringing yourself to our seat, to an easy pose. And we're going to send our right foot out straight. So we're going to do seated tree pose. So our right foot straight, we're going to tuck our left foot in, the bottom of our feet just touching the inside of our right thigh. And a few options here. We can lean forward. We want to think about hinging from our hips and leaning forward. Our goal is trying to get our belly button on our thigh. You can also open up the chest a little bit. This one's my favorite. And bring your left hand to your hip. And open up the chest. Rolling back the shoulders. Remind me not to roll back my shoulders in that direction. And bringing our gaze up to the ceiling if we're doing our twist. And on our next exhale, placing our left hand right behind our seat, and we're just going to bring our right hand all the way up to the sky, putting a nice generous bend in our left hand, or left elbow. And on our next exhale, rounding the spine back to our seated tree pose. And on our next inhale, crawling our fingers up, switching it out. So bringing our left leg straight, our right foot, bottom of foot touching our left thigh. And big inhale and exhale, belly button to our thigh. Optional twist, you can put your right hand on your right hip and open up, roll back the shoulders. And on our next exhale, sitting up, placing our right hand right by our right seat, bringing our left hand up and over. And on our next exhale, bringing our arm back to our left foot portion. And on our inhale, we're going to make it our way to our backs. So if we're in the back of the mat, you might need to scoot your seat up, and we're just going to lay on back. And once we're on our backs, we're going to put a nice bend in our knees, the bottoms of our feet touching our mat, and we're going to bring our right foot in first. So bringing our knee to our chest, you can either interlace your fingers or just grab the top of the knee. You can also grab behind the knee if that's not accessible to you. And then we're going to straighten out our left foot. And here, just experimenting with how this feels, maybe rolling your hip out back and forth, maybe adding a little extra squeeze. Sending our breath to anywhere that's really tight. And on our next exhale, going back up on our knee on our left foot. And then we're just going to cross our right ankle to our left knee to make a little figure four. Now this might be enough for you. You can have this. You can place your right hand on your right knee and put a little pressure as a hip opener. You also have an option to bring your knee into your chest and either wrap around behind your back of your knee or to the top of it. Awesome. If you're in a chair, you can feel free to drop your chest down to your knees. This is modified pigeon. Sending our breath to our right hip if there's any tension. I also invite you to roll out your left ankle, if that feels good. And on your next exhale, drop the foot back down to the mat. Unravel, placing your right foot back to meet the mat. And then we're going to bring in the left knee. So left knee to chest, either a bind with the fingers behind the knee or in front of the knee, and sending our right foot out straight. Rolling out the hip, seeing how that feels. A few breaths here. And on our next exhale, placing the bottom of our foot back onto our mat, crossing our left ankle to our right knee, and maybe putting a little pressure on your left knee with your left fingertips, or maybe even bringing our knee into our chest. Using our breath as the foundation. If anything feels stuck or sticky, just sending our breath there. It makes everything so much easier. And on our next exhale, placing that foot back down, sending the left foot to meet the right foot. And then we're just going to drop the hips or drop the knees over to the right side. You can scoot your hips over a little bit if that's more comfortable, but just dropping the knees and keeping our shoulders on the mat for a supine twist. If you're seated, just dropping your knees slightly over to the right side. Sometimes placing your right hand on your left knee to give a little bit of tension feels really nice. And on your next inhale, bringing the knees back to center with your kneecaps pointing towards the sky and switching it out. So dropping the knees over to the left side. Here for a couple breaths. And on our inhale, bringing our knees back to neutral. And then we're going to send our feet straight up. So our feet, it's called feet against the wall. So we're going to bring our feet up and roll out our ankles. If we're seated, you can just bring your feet straight forward and roll out our ankles. Awesome. And on our exhale, letting our legs fall back to the mat, nice and slow, extending our legs. And we're going to move into Savasana. So this is mummy pose. So letting our feet drop out to the outside of our mats, placing our palms facing towards the sky. And mummy pose is just getting in the most comfortable position that you can. So if that's spreading a little bit wider than our mat, a lot wider than our mat, but just really sinking into our mat, rolling back the shoulders. And gently closing our eyes. Thanking our body, all of the work is done. Thanking our body for moving how we like it. Letting any thoughts that come, let them come, but then let them go. Being present in the moment. Maybe tuning into how our body feels after all of our movement that we did, all of the twists. Oftentimes we sit and we find circular patterns of thought around the things that we can't get right. And when we take the pressure off, even just for a moment, even for a breath, we start to train the mind that it is possible to forgive and find that self-compassion. And usually we can get ourselves out of that loop. And the thing that we've been working so hard on with so much resistance with, we can find it with ease. Slowly bringing our awareness back to our body, maybe starting by wiggling our fingers, wiggling our toes, bringing us back to our earthly bodies, rolling out the wrists, maybe cracking the knuckles, bringing back some movement. And when you're ready, slowly rolling over to one side into fetal position, using one of our arms as a pillow out long. And then if we're seated, just bringing one arm down across our laps. And nice and slow, like our practice today, moving through honey, bringing ourselves back up to an easy pose or a seated pose, trying to keep our eyes shut as we make it all the way up to a seat. Spending a few more breaths here for our last moments. And bringing your hands heart center. The light in me sees the light in all of you. Thank you for all you do for your community, for us. And then we can bring our thumbs up to our temple or to the front of our forehead. And we can bow forward. Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. We can open our eyes. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for taking the time today to do this conference for you guys. We gifted all of you guys with your own singing bowls. There's instructions in there, but I can talk a little bit about them. And feel free to move around. I know that was a lot, so if anybody needs a drink, move around. It can take a minute. But feel free to play around with your sound bowls. I can teach you a little bit about them. So they actually help a lot with healing. There's also a card sitting right next to you that kind of deep dives into why yoga and sound bowls are amazing together. But relaxation, it brings you more into your head. It brings you into a deep, deep state, subconscious of relaxation. It can help you with focus. You can find them online too. I used to when I used to study in college, so it helps a lot with focus. There's different types of sound bowls that help with certain things. So it can help with your energy. It can help with your balance, lots and lots. But I'm going to show you guys how to play it, and feel free to play around with your own sound bowls. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your mallet that you got on, and you're going to hold the wooden side of your guys's. So this one's kind of closer to yours. So the wooden side, and then your felt side is the side that you're going to use to rub the outside of your bowl. So you're going to ding on the outside, and then we're just going to nice and slow rub around the outside of your sound bowl. And this one is clearly bigger, so it's going to be a lot louder than your guys'. But this is something that we wanted to gift to you guys, so when you're at home, you can start building your own routine and your own ritual, because our routines are our ultimate form of self-care. So play around with those. See what you can make. If anybody wants to try these big ones up here too, you're more than welcome. They're the same technique. They're really fun up here. So, you want to try this one? Not yet? Okay. So you're going to, and then you guys do have instructions in your box too, if you want to read instructions. Yeah, but they're in your the box in front of you too. But you're going to take the felt part and you're going to ding the outside to make the noise. The felt part. Yeah. And then we're just going to slowly, you want like this much, maybe like an inch of the felt on your bowl. So the very top of it. Yeah. And you can experiment too. Sometimes if you're holding it, it helps too. Sometimes sound bowls don't work. See, I have a little stand for mine, this little ring. I don't know if it would sing on the carpet. It does, but it doesn't sound as good. Much quieter.
They have the little donuts.
Oh yeah, and you can use the little donuts too, so. But yeah. Amazing. And they do take practice, so if you can't get yours to sing just yet. And every bowl has its own unique sound. That's another fun fact about bowls. So maybe your neighbor's is a little bit lower pitched or a little bit higher pitched. So the little ones are a little bit quieter, and they do take practice. Oh, my thing's off. They do take practice, so the first time, yeah, and the donut helps. So that just helps the sound travel through the bowl. So like for example, it's very similar to the one that this one has. So it just gives us a little space. So for example, like carpet can absorb the sound and then not make noise, or mats, like you can't, a lot of times like these type of mats won't like let the sound travel. But imagine it, you know, Rachel said this earlier, imagine it like, you know, like a wine glass or a tall cup. You can like make a sound if your hand gets wet. It's super, super similar. So yeah, it does take practice. And then these ones are, this one is also much bigger, so it makes a louder noise. But please, I encourage you to try this one too, if you're trying yours. This one's really fun. Yes, please, please, please. They're fun. Use this one, this one's good. And then we also have a rubber mat too. The rubber mat actually makes a different noise too. Yes, come try, come try. Yeah, try. Yep. Here, I'll do this little one with you. Okay, so we hit it on the outside. Yep, perfect. And then just, yeah. There we go. You feel the vibrations? It gets really loud.